Doyle. Andrew, interesting, the strategy of reconnecting with the Red Wall, but there is a binary nature on the culture war stuff in particular. If you are going to reconnect with the Red Wall, you've got to choose a side.
Yeah, I mean, if Labour is serious about reconnecting, they first have to learn to understand what the culture war is and what's going on with it. There was a bit of a mixed messaging there, wasn't there, about, well, Keir Starmer was right to take the knee, but at the same time shouldn't get involved in the culture war, and that is contradictory. I think at heart, the culture war is really about a prioritisation of identitarian issues of race, gender, sexuality, over the traditional issues that Labour did concern itself with, which of course is class and economic inequality. And that is the heart of what many of the things that he was describing people were talking about on the doorstep is actually about. And it's all very well saying the culture war doesn't come up on the doorstep. Well, actually, yes, it does. Because even Brexit was wrapped up ultimately in the culture war. You know, firstly, you had an entire media class basically smearing anyone who voted Leave as racist and stupid and all the rest of it, and thinking totally in terms of identity politics, in fact. And then you had 70% of Labour constituencies voting Leave, and then you had the Labour Party saying, we're going to campaign on a manifesto to ignore your vote or at least overturn it, or at least that is the way it was perceived. So even those kinds of issues do get wrapped up in the culture war. So if you're going to prioritise class, if you're going to prioritise social mobility and these kind of things, and working people, then you are getting involved in the culture war, whether you like it or not.
And Stephen Kinnock didn't say, but he might have said, well, look, the problem is you guys, you keep asking us about it. You know, look at the Labour Party conference, and all you wanted to know about was whether I believe in a woman's right to have a cervix or whatever it was. You know, I know you've said before, actually, all they needed to do was bore the journalists to death, come up with an incredibly anodyne formulation that doesn't really answer the question, and we move on because we get bored.
Yeah, or they could have taken the braver stance, which is to answer the question truthfully. Which would have been much more interesting and much more of a vote winner, let's be honest. Because, I mean, all of the row over the Rosie Duffield situation, you know, in all of that, people are watching this thinking, why doesn't Starmer just say what he thinks? Why is he so scared to say what we all know to be true? And that's why the culture was important, because there is a perception that there's a minority, very powerful, predominantly middle-class elite, who are determining what people can and can't say, and effectively cultivating a scenario where the head of the opposition, the leader of the opposition, can sit there and can't state a biological fact out of fear. And that's a ridiculous situation. That's the extent of the culture war.
And that is the situation that Stephen Kinnock's in. He represents a caucus within the Labour Party, which would, I suspect, I don't know, I didn't ask him, I suspect would have a natural sympathy with the right of a Rosie Duffield-type character to take a position characterised by her critics as transphobic. The problem he's got, that any party manager has got, is that a lot of his activists hate the idea, hate her, feel there's no place in the Labour Party for someone like that. So you've got the activists over here, you've got the electorate over here, and Stephen Kinnock's in the middle, and he's on his own, really.
Yeah, but he's got to play the numbers game. He's got to start thinking about what the electorate want. And the activists are not a fair representation of what the electorate thinks. And in fact, they're almost always on the wrong side of that. So, you know, if they want to win, they should go the other way.